Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. So good. So good. The one thing, well, I don't know, maybe it's a couple, maybe just one thing. By the way, before I get started, spoilers, if you haven't seen the second one, watch the second one. And I will talk a little bit about Black Lightning because it does kind of incorporate into it somewhat. So at the first part of it, Oliver dies and everything like that, and then when we start back up, he's not there telling everyone, and everyone's like kind of sad and stuff like that, and Sarah, wow, Sarah is pretty much like, let's pour a drink to Oliver, he died like he lived, a hero and stuff like that, and Supergirl's like, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of us just like giving up a little bit. And so, you cut to the next scene and you see Barry and Mia. They're talking and they're like, all right, there's X amount of Earth still left. We know that Earth 1 didn't actually have the Lazarus Pit, so we're going to bring it to another one. And the minute that they actually said Lazarus Pit, I was just like, because part of me, here's the thing, part of me was like, that sacrifice in that moment was so great and so special, that he's gone, and how we're going to sit there and deal with this loss, and we're going to fight harder because of him, we're going to use him as an example and inspiration and stuff like that. And it's just like, second episode, it's like, well, how do we bring him back? And I'm like, I don't know, I feel like it just kind of cheapened the whole, in some ways I feel like it kind of cheapened the whole death scene, the whole, him saying goodbye to everyone, and that whole moment seemed like it was kind of cheapened by the fact that, like, all right, we're just going to put him in the Lazarus Pit and he'll just be back, and then we'll just get Constantine just bring back his soul. And I'm like, okay, alright, so, okay, I don't know, to me, it just made me feel some sort of way. Yeah, you want Oliver to come back, and you do kind of wonder, if he's gone, well, what's going to happen with the rest of the season of Arrow? But, I don't know, maybe it still would have been probably great, would have been interesting to see how they would have, sorry, a second. It still would have been interesting to see how they would have actually pulled everything off. So, I don't know, it is what it is. It doesn't detract too much from it. It's just one of those things I just felt a little kind of, like, off about. Not enough to, like, detract from the rest of this episode, but anyway, moving on. So, we finally get to see Brandon Routh in the Kingdom Come Superman outfit, and I gotta say I was very impressed. I don't know, here's the thing, like, I look at, and I have to sit there and really do like a comparison between the suits, between that suit and his movie suit, and I gotta say I'm kind of liking the TV show suit better. I am. It was good. My whole thing with Lex getting the book and being like, all right, I'm gonna go and kill a bunch of Supermen, and the monitor's like, oh, it's part of my plan, and I'm like, so part of your plan is just him murdering a bunch of other Supermen? I mean, I get the idea, like, at first I'm just like, wow, that's just fucking dickish. But then I'm just not there thinking, I was like, if this antimatter just wipes out their universe in general, their Earth in general, it doesn't matter if he goes around and starts, like, killing different other Supermans, because their fucking planet's gonna be dead, so they're gonna be dead either way. So, that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, it was cool seeing him in the suit, being Superman again. It didn't play out exactly, and granted, everyone should probably knew it was going to play out exactly like Kingdom Come, the comic book. So, for what they were able to pull off, I think they did actually a pretty good job. I don't know. I didn't read that much of Kingdom Come. I only kind of got my information from Wikipedia. So maybe it kind of did play out. Because I mean, from what I understand, Kingdom Come Superman, he does survive and he does continue to live on. So anyway, like I said, I thought that was a cool iteration of that Superman. Speaking of Superman or Superman, Tom Welling came back and he was fucking great. I was reading some of the comments this morning and they were basically and to some extent I agreed. So if you watch the episode, you notice that like his mannerisms a little bit, like his posture and everything, kind of resembles his father, Jonathan Kent from Smallville, and I can see that. It was actually really good. They come in and Tyler Superman meets Tom's. He was like, "Oh, you're Clark Kent," and before they able to even finish like telling him what's going on, Lex comes in, and he's like, "Oh," he says something, and Clark, Superman, Clark, whatever. I'm gonna call him Clark. Clark is just looking at him like, "Who the hell are you?" And he's like, "I'm Lex Luthor." He's like, you don't look like Lex Luthor to me." He was like, "Yeah, it's different Earths and stuff like that." And he comes out with the kryptonite, and Clark just looks at it, picks it up, and all right. And Lex is shocked. He's like, "What the hell? That's kryptonite." Like, yeah, I know. And they banter for a little bit, and it's great. And there was speculation of him not having his powers. So it turns out he doesn't have his powers because he wanted to live a normal life with Lois and the kids. He has, I think, 2 girls or something like that. So for what it's worth, it was actually nice just seeing him. And of course, Lex is like, "You know what? You don't have no powers. It just takes the fun away from me, like killing you. So good luck living in Medark." Not even gonna try to pronounce that. Living being bored, and he just vanishes. And we get to see Kevin Conroy. I can't pronounce his last name, but we get to see 90s animated Batman voice in live action, and it was great. The minute you heard him walking down the stairs and you heard his voice, I was just like, for me, I just had that geek moment. I was just like, "It's fucking Batman. It's fucking Batman." Like I was so like fucking like, I don't know, like hyped and shit. And you see him and everything like that. You see him because you saw the trailer of him like in the exosuit or whatever. Now my whole thing is I thought that it was Bane, because the last time he was that injured was from Bane. So I thought it was from Bane. You find out it was from Superman. He killed Superman. And he pretty much paid the price for it by being in that fucking exosuit. Of course, you always sit there and whenever I always look at it, and they always do that debate between Batman and Superman and who's gonna win. For me, I always feel like it's just never gonna be a fair fight, because you're either gonna have Superman being in his right state of mind but holding back, and Batman knowing that he's gonna hold back and using kryptonite. And of course, in the exosuits or whatever, he pretty much sucker punched Supergirl. And I'm just like, "You fucking bitch." And of course, he has kryptonite or whatever. And Kane saves Supergirl, and he falls into some sort of electrocution thing. And I will sit there and say this, right before it ends, or somewhere around that time, you see Kane grabbing the kryptonite. And I'm just like, this is such a fucking Batman thing to do, Because you're just like, "Well, bitch, what do you have to fucking kryptonite for?" You know, a lot of people be like, well, what do you have to kryptonite for? But at first I was like, you fucking traitorous bitch. But then I stopped and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I have to see this from both sides. She is going through different Earths, meeting different versions of the same people that she knows. And, you know, the Bruce that she knows would never go out and start killing people. He would never actually have that idea in his head of just like being so like, well, the world should end, it should burn down and everything should end. You know what I'm saying? Like, so seeing that version is like, yo, there's different versions of these different people, and who knows? It's not to sit there and say we haven't came across a different version of Supergirl, and hell, even Supergirl herself, you know, at one time or another has been, well, fucking evil. So it is definitely one of those. You know what? It's better to be safe than sorry. So I can understand why she actually had the kryptonite. You know, after seeing that version of Bruce Wayne, she's like, yo, what if there's a version of Supergirl that's like that? Spoiler alert, there was, and probably will be more still. So, made sense. So we find out that this Mick is actually really good for fucking kids. Reading the baby his trashy romance novel. So, oh, one other thing that kind of griped me, just real quick, was when they found his Lazarus pit. It was Sarah and Mia, and Jonah Hex comes in. He's like, "Oh, it's mine," and you know they start fighting and everything like that. Now at this point, here's another thing that kind of I would sit there and say kind of bothered me a little bit. So Sarah already has a knife to his face. It's like, "Yo, listen, we won. It's over." And even Jonah Hex is like, "Yo, all right, it's your pit, it's your playground. You do what you want." And Sarah's just like, "Well, you know, this is gonna happen anyway," and she decides to cut his fucking face, and I'm like, why? That that to me made no sense. I really didn't understand that. There's been so many times she just probably just like knocked people out or whatever. And been like, all right, cool, whatever, and just squash it. But she cut his face because, oh well, it's gonna happen anyway. How do you know that? This is a different Earth. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when Oliver fucking comes back alive? What are you gonna do? Cut off his arm because you meant a future version of another parallel Earth Oliver, and he has a robot arm? So what? You're gonna cut off his arm because what? It's gonna happen anyway? Like that just it made no sense. No sense whatsoever. I feel like I am missing a couple of things, but I feel like that was the most stuff that stuck out to me. Now, just real quick, I know some people were just watching the the crossover, and technically speaking, Black Lightning, well, it didn't have a lot to do with the crossover, but because he is in the Arrowverse and it's sort of connected, I will sit there and say a couple of things about it. First of all, so something happened. Okay, so I guess this Red Sky comes in on Black Lightning's Earth. I can't remember what number it is, but it starts to affect Jennifer, and cause somehow her power is connected to something, energy or something. I can't remember, but so something happens with Jennifer, and she's like split. She's like caught in like her dimension and like this negative void of going through different dimensions. And so when Gambi comes in, you know, he's like, yo, I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what's going on. Like her powers is still like, it's the same as Jefferson's, but it's kind of different. So he's like, yo, I don't know what to do. And finally, he just kind of figures out like, yo, this may be parallel dimensions. And so you see three different versions of Jen. You get this one that's been in the pit or whatever, and Jefferson is just placating the people's demands, and well, he gets shot, and the mother is pretty much like kind of estranged and whatever. So this is a more darker, more sadder universe. No, this is a more sadder universe of Gens. And I don't remember if it was like negative something or whatever. You get these three versions, and you get badass fucking Dark Gen. I love badass fucking Dark Jen. I Here's the thing. I was never a big fan of Jen. I wasn't. I honestly think she mostly reminded me of girls I went to high school that I just didn't fucking like. So, in the beginning, I didn't like her, but she did grow on me. But this version of Jen, she is just fucking badass. Like, she is so much more stronger than her dad. Like, she pretty much works for the NSA. Like, she's pretty much like, quote on her words, she's the fucking authority. Um, this is a world where she's just going around just killing people, whatever. She's just like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna do what I need to do to clean up your mess, and just like very defiant of her dad. And pretty much at the end, she pretty much kills a fucking family. And here's my thing. I don't know what power level Anissa is. I know at one point she was going toe to toe with Black Lightning. On the Earth that we know, or the regular version or whatever. But this version, well, Jen just fucking, she got hit once, but she quickly just fucking dealt with her like she was nothing. So she was, well, Anissa to Jen, like she just beat her ass pretty much. The mother doesn't count because it was the mother, and her dad. I mean, they were doing, they were going back and forth with their energy blasters, and at one point, she was doing that shit with one hand. I was just like, well, damn. I personally can't. I hope that they do bring this Dark Jen into those episodes, because she is a fucking badass. Like, she handled that version of Jefferson with one fucking hand. Now, I don't know if that version of Jefferson is not as strong as the regular Jefferson, but if he is, then Jet is pretty fucking strong. I mean, Gammy already said that she's strong, but like that she generates more energy than Black Lightning, but I didn't know it was on that level though. Anyway, towards the end, the red sky, or the antimatter, comes for the fucking planet and pretty much kills off everyone except for Jefferson Pierce. So tonight, he's gonna be, in the Flash episode with everyone else. So I don't know. I felt like talking about it because the red sky was going on. Like, it did start to happen on their planet. Like, it didn't directly tie into the crossover, but it did affect that universe. So I felt like it was kind of, I don't know, important to sit there, just to mention. So anyway, that's just my thoughts and review on the second part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. It is getting really good so far. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. And the thing that's really crazy is that there's a cliffhanger. There's 2 more fucking episodes. Here's the thing. Here's one other thing I will say before I go. That there's a lot of people that's just like, oh, well, this is an event that's so big that this is never going to happen again. Never say never, okay? Because ratings are probably shooting through the fucking roof. And these shows are getting so much fucking spotlight from people that normally don't even watch these shows. And everyone's talking about it. Everyone on YouTube is talking about it and stuff like that. So I don't think this is going to be the last big event crossover. Yeah, they're gonna probably go more smaller and stuff like that, and do like a crossover. Like, they'll probably do a couple of crossovers, like Crisis on Earth. Crisis on Earth X or Earth X. I forgot the last big crossover. They'll probably do a crossover on that scale. But moving forward, I do feel like we're gonna get another big crossover, like that. Hell, I mean, from the rumors, from what I heard, they were supposed to include Krypton into that crossover, and Lobo. But because those shows got canceled, they weren't even like mentioned in there. So I do feel like we're gonna get another crossover like that. I don't see why they wouldn't. Especially with their new shows that's coming out, and I think Stargirl. I don't know if Stargirl's gonna be in a crossover. People are saying that she is and she's not. She may be in it, but she's gonna have her own show, and she's gonna be part of the Arrowverse, just like the new Green Lantern show that's gonna be on HBO Max. That's also going to be part of the Arrowverse. So I'm just not saying. I wouldn't be surprised if they won't go that big again, if not bigger, you know? I mean, they always sit there and talk about how, they go back and forth tit and tat with Marvel and DC and stuff like that. And, because this is their version of Endgame, and really it is, I wouldn't be too surprised if they won't do something like this, but bigger. If nothing else, just for that, just for that competitive streak. So anyway, again, sorry for the rambling, but I didn't want to make a part 2 of this video. So yeah, that's my thoughts, and I will be doing part 3 maybe tomorrow, if not Thursday or Friday. But alright, bye.